I recently saw another terrible medical take about SSRIs on social media, and I'm a little tired of it. The author knew it was misleading, but posted it anyway because controversy gets engagement, and that's gold in the influencer world. As both a pharmacist and a Christian, I keep seeing misleading information about mental health medication spread through both faith communities and secular spaces, and it's hurting people who are already struggling. I'm Stacy. I'm a Christian, a pharmacist, and a writer. And if you're new here, I write about the intersection of faith and health. And today we're talking about SSRIs. Those are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and these are medications primarily used for depression, but also sometimes anxiety and other conditions. Now, before we dive in, this video is for information only. Talk to your provider before you make any changes to your medication. And let me also be clear, I'm not saying everyone should take SSRIs. These medications have real side effects and aren't right for everyone. But there are also people struggling so much that it's affecting their lives and their families, and they need grace and truth, not more guilt piled on top of their pain. When we spread inaccurate information about mental health treatment, even with good intentions, we're potentially adding guilt to people who are already carrying pretty heavy burdens. So I wanted to break down some myths that I hear with both medical accuracy and gospel grace. Myth number 1, we don't know how SSRIs work, so they're questionable. This is technically true. We know how they work in animal brain tissue, but we can't measure if they're actually increasing serotonin in human brains. But here's what these bad medical takes don't tell you. We don't know exactly how a lot of medications work. I counsel patients with multiple sclerosis pretty regularly, and I have to say, when I talk to them, we don't know exactly how this medication works, but here's what we see it doing. If we threw out every medication where we don't fully understand the mechanism of action, we'd have to close half the pharmacy. And that's not wisdom. That's an impossible standard. Myth number 2, the chemical imbalance theory is just pharmaceutical marketing. This one's also partly true. Depression as a simple chemical imbalance has never been proven, and pharmaceutical companies rightfully get a lot of flack for presenting this theory as a fact. But all marketing is designed to make you want the product, or in this case, remove emotional barriers from taking it. Whether it really should be that way is a whole nother conversation, and one we probably need to have. Scientists might prove this theory someday, or they might completely disprove it. And you know what? The migraine theory that I learned in pharmacy school has since been disproven. That's the uncomfortable truth about medicine. We're always learning and we're changing our approach. Myth number 3, SSRIs are structurally similar to insert scary drug here. This falls to me in the irrelevant and unhelpful category. Chemical structures can be nearly identical, and one may work and the other might not do anything. You change one tiny piece and you might get a completely different effect. So saying this is kind of like saying you shouldn't eat table salt because it contains chlorine, which is the same element in bleach. This is technically true, but scientifically irrelevant. Myth number 4, there are no objective measures for depression. And that's true. There are no blood tests or scans for depression. The only way to assess it is to ask someone how they're feeling. But there are no objective measures for migraines either. And a lot of times we don't have an objective measure for chronic pain. And until a few decades ago, we really didn't have reliable objective measures for MS. So just because we can't measure something with a blood test doesn't mean doctors shouldn't treat it. Myth number 5, SSRI effects are just placebo. Yes, the placebo effect may be responsible for some of the effects of SSRIs, but the same is true for some blood pressure medications. And studies show that patient attitudes about treatment can affect the outcome. Our Creator placed a lot of significance in our thoughts, and it's all throughout Scripture. Philippians 4:8, the Sermon on the Mount, our thoughts matter to God. So maybe the placebo effect actually demonstrates how fearfully and wonderfully God made us. And also that we don't fully understand the mind-body connection. And that brings us to myth number 6. And that myth is that the studies about SSRIs were flawed. And the theory is that if patients had side effects in the trials, well, they knew that they were getting the real drug, and that kind of biased the result. Well, the problem with that is there's also something called the nocebo effect. And that just means if you are told or believe you're going to have side effects, you're more likely to have them. And honestly, I have seen far more of that in my career than the placebo effect. So while there might be some truth to it, it's really not the smoking gun that a lot of critics of SSRIs seem to think it is. I'm definitely not saying everyone needs to take SSRIs. People with mild to moderate depression actually tend to do as well or better with lifestyle changes and counseling. And I think it's irresponsible to always blame depression on sin. I don't think we should should advocate just an approach that everybody should take a pill. Sometimes there might be some spiritual issues that need to be explored first. But I am tired of bad medical takes being used as clickbait. When we spread medical misinformation, even if we have the best of intentions, we're potentially standing between struggling people and treatments that could actually offer them genuine relief. Medications like SSRIs have been a gift to many people, including many faithful Christians. God works in a lot of ways. He works through doctors, counselors, medications, prayers, and countless other means to bring healing to His people. It's not our job to limit how God chooses to work. It's our job to steward the gifts He's given us with wisdom and compassion. I would like to see us commit to speaking truth in love, even when that truth is more complex than a social media post allows. If this was helpful, please share it with someone who needs accurate information about mental health. The full blog post with links to the studies and more details is in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, where we'll keep exploring how faith and facts can work together for our good and God's glory. And if you'd like to see more of those videos, please subscribe.